It's great to have you on the programme this evening. First of all, let's talk about the relations, not really diplomatic much longer, between, it seems, Netanyahu and the UN chief Antonio Guterres.
Yes, they haven't been good going back to Gaza. And now we see UNIFIL stepping in to fill the role perhaps that UNRWA used to. I'll tell you what they say here about UNIFIL. It's a UN peacekeeping force. It's been there since 2006. It's meant to keep the peace between both sides, but there's been no comment from UNIFIL, no criticism of Hezbollah when it started firing at Israel on October the 8th. The only criticism that comes from UNIFIL is against Israel. And that's the kind of feeling that there is here. There is also the feeling that if they're there and they're not really being peacekeepers, they aren't, for example, keeping Hezbollah back behind the Litani River, which was one of the conditions of the 2006 ceasefire, then here they are simply endangering themselves. And I think that's why you heard Benjamin Netanyahu saying that they are hostages to Hezbollah in that sense. But it's their choice. You know, they're not hostages in the sense that the civilians are hostages in Gaza, for example, to Hamas. These are people who make a choice, and they make a choice to stay. And I guess they make a choice to stay because of the symbolic importance of peacekeepers, even if they don't really keep the peace, even if they don't make much of an effort or are not involved in anything that involves a military stand. Nevertheless, when they go, there's a feeling that it will only get worse.
It's interesting, Irris. I was talking to Andrea Tenenti on Friday evening from UNIFIL, the spokesperson based in Beirut. He was saying, look, we have a mandate, 1701 resolution based on the 2006 agreement to have what's called this blue line of 10,000 or so troops from various countries. And we have that job to do. So regardless of any question, any order to leave, we are staying in position. And there we have an impasse right now. If we're seeing these injured, and I guess we're also seeing what you've alluded to, an optics information war, perhaps too strong a word, but also a clarification on both sides. First, UNIFIL saying these are our jobs, and Israel saying, actually, come and look at what Hezbollah have been hiding. UNIFIL hasn't been doing its job.
That's right. You know, we've seen the Israeli military taking journalists into South Lebanon to show them what they're finding. And they're finding along the border with Israel tunnels filled with weapons, filled with anti-tank missiles, filled with ammunition, filled with uniforms, filled with shoes. People just come in and can take over. And they're spread out right near the Israeli villages, towns and settlements there, the kibbutzim that are there. And what they're saying, what the Israeli military is saying, is we are coming in and we are taking that out. And we're doing it, tunnel by tunnel. And the Israel's defense minister stood at a lookout point where he looked down on the Hezbollah outposts. Some of them are hidden in national parks. Above them is a UNIFIL outpost, so that UNIFIL is above. Then there's Hezbollah. Then there's the Israeli towns that they're looking out over. So they really see it as a cleaning up operation. That's the Israeli military point of view. And it has to be said, there are very few Hezbollah operatives left there at all. What you're seeing is them going in and cleaning up after them. They went with the civilians. I did hear today that they did find one Hezbollah operative in one of those outposts, and they have arrested him. But he's a lone soldier, if you like. There are not many of them left. And the Israeli argument is UNIFIL is on that side of the border and has been overlooking that the whole time.
OK, so this is developing. Stay with us, Irris, because if we're hearing that they've destroyed